right. Welcome, everyone. It's time for the Agent Workforce podcast. Once again, this time we have another special type of episode where we're focusing more on vertical agents, a topic we've been discussing a couple of occasions on in the earlier episodes. And today we have our specialist on this topic, our head of business strategy at Digital Workforce, Karli Kalpala, with me here.
Hi, very pleased to be invited to this podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, great for having you here. And you're going to be talking about some of our newer advances on the vertical agent front.
Yes.
Um, yeah, yeah. Before we get to that, as Christina is not here today, I'll be doing the news round. So just to go through a couple of news that have been doing the rounds in the couple of days since our last recording. One of the big ones for myself, for instance, coming from a technical perspective, was Microsoft's announcement that they have also jumped on the agent-to-agent protocol bandwagon, and they are making it available through AI Foundry and Copilot Studio. And Microsoft has stated that with the support for agent-to-agent, you will then be able to build complex multi-agent workflows spanning internal copilots, partner tools, and production infrastructure all in one place through the Azure AI Foundry, while still maintaining all the governance and SLAs that you require. The Copilot Studio agents will be able to securely invoke external agents, including the ones that have been built with other platforms or hosted outside of Microsoft. And with this, enterprises gain a path to composable, intelligent systems that scale across organizational and cloud boundaries. Microsoft also said in the release that they see protocols like agent-to-agent and model context protocol, MCP, as important steps in the direction of realizing their vision for the agentic future. And whilst they did not give a date for this, they are saying that agent-to-agent public preview in the AI Foundry and Copilot Studio will be arriving soon. So fingers crossed. I'm looking forward to that. They actually already have one sort of example available on their website that combines agent to agent with semantic kernel. And I just found it yesterday. I'm going to give that a try in the next couple of weeks just to get my hands on how that stuff will work within Microsoft's tools. Karli, any thoughts on this? I know you have a...
Yeah, I think kind of the general direction of travel is quite evident. Everyone is onboarding themselves to the even more complex frameworks to drive and push the boundaries of possible with the autonomy and the use cases. So I think this exciting news, Microsoft anyway, with the distribution advantage that they have it's a great news for everyone interested building their own systems, agent to agent solutions and use cases. So very pleased to hear this.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's interesting that like MCP came from Anthropic, agent to agent came from Google, but now all these big providers are jumping on their each other's protocols and doing it in a sort of open source manner and jointly improving the agent landscape and the basis with solutions.
That's a very, very interesting and important kind of point you make there. It's observation that especially the foundational level, model level, as well as this tool level solutions or offering is consolidating quite quickly. It's very hard to differentiate on those levels, and probably that today brings also the agenda about the app layer, the vertical agent, or the applied AI layer, where value can be created quickly for organizations who don't operate in this hyperscaler cloud infrastructure or foundational model level, which is very, very, very capex heavy line of business. So yeah, let's see if we open a couple of thoughts around that later today.
Yeah. And the other bit of news I wanted to raise was, well, we tend to have these every week, something about OpenAI. This time, it's about their new feature in ChatGPT's deep research, which now can also analyze code repositories on GitHub. And the feature for that is in beta right now. But with this, you can connect to GitHub and ask questions about code bases and engineering documents. And OpenAI have said that this connector will soon be available for everyone, including the Plus, Pro, and Team users. And then enterprise and education users will be having it soon, whatever that means. Hopefully very soon. And I think this is just well, it really emphasizes the thought that and the concept that OpenAI is going to be, or they are building the next search engine that can do everything. And yeah, I guess that's it for the news. So, Karli, would you like to tell us why you're here?
Yes, so thank you for inviting. As mentioned earlier, the topic that we have been talking a lot internally, the DWF, has been the concept of vertical versus horizontal agents. What is the market that moves the fastest? Where can be value created the fastest, and where to position ourselves? I think we have quite strong opinions around that already internally built, and today we are going to open some of those, and especially around vertical agents, what we're doing in the space, but how we think about the value creation, how we think about actually where the revolution of this technology and generative AI-based AI agents actually resides, and what is the core of the transformation. So I think that is very interesting discussion ahead. If you want to kind of, Niko, give your thoughts around this, you have been obviously involved in the transition. I will then give a couple of thoughts after that and see where we go in the discussion.
Yeah, sure. So, from my perspective and the projects I've been involved in, the discussions I'm in with all the customers and so on, definitely vertical agents are resonating very well. So, simply being able to offer a solution that answers to a specific business problem is a much better message than saying that we have a tool with which we can do anything. It becomes much more clearer. It's much easier to grasp what can be done, what's the outcome going to be. It manages the expectations on a different level, and yeah, it's business first, which is really important.
Yeah, and it's very interesting if you think about more on the fundamental level, what is this transformation that we are seeing in front of ourselves? The claim that we tend to talk about is that it's actually a transformation of work itself. It's not the transformation on the level of software as much as it is forcing us to ask the question, who or actually what will perform the work in our enterprises going forward. So it's the technology and its opportunities is very much the similar state at today as for example, internet was in the 1995. There's opportunities everywhere. You can build your own tools. You can access kind of all sorts of frameworks. But in the end, the agents and we discussed about the agent-to-agent protocols of that. It's about delivering work outputs in enterprises. And from that point of view, actually, it's easier than ever to build a company, found a company, build a product with these capabilities and tools. But you need to have a good insight of the industry or the vertical where you're solving a practical problem. And that is very, very interesting way of thinking about the transition. If one likes to have a kind of anecdote around this or think about this a little bit further, is that typically software, as we know it in the history, software and all of that has been focusing on selling a productivity to employees message. And you pay per seat, you pay per access subscription to the technology, and the core idea of the technology is that it makes you more productive. And now when we see the autonomous agents acting in our enterprises or in our kind of context and pilots and first engagements, actually see them performing the work itself. The output that previously was solely left for the humans to work. And that is the concept for us, what we mean with vertical agents. So actually you deploy these agents to perform a very specific work output, and you attach your commercial models, your business models into actually delivering the outcome instead of selling a tool for the customer.
So in a way, you could say that the difference is that instead of selling productivity, it's now about selling outcomes. Well, that actually reminds me of already way back in the day when RPA was the big thing. Still is a big thing, of course, but not in the hype cycle. And Automation Anywhere, I know that they had this sort of booklet with which they went to their customers directly and said, this booklet contains the work profiles of these RPA personas that you can purchase. So if you want financial experts or so on, here are the skill sets that these bots have. And that was the message. Instead of saying we have this technology and so on, they went in with this booklet of work personas that they had designed and built.
And if you think about that, why it's obviously a nice play, marketing stunt, but it has an even bigger kind of a consequence for the business model and how you drive value as an organization. So if you think about this a little bit, you can think of like 3 layers where businesses are built in this transformation. The first layer is the foundational models, and that is very cost intensive type of business model. There's only a handful of players in the world that can afford investing into building new models. It's basically you're building data centers. It's very capex heavy investments. When you have more capex, you can attract more capex, and so the economics of scale are very evident there. And I think someone said it's quite good way of thinking of it is that the foundational models is the fastest depreciating asset in human history. So it means that you spend hundreds of millions, billions into training a model, and the next week or in a month, when a new foundational model that is slightly better than your previous one comes out, the value of the previous model goes to zero almost immediately. No one uses GPT 3.5 anymore, even the turbo model or anything like that. Everyone is playing with the latest models. So that is a space where we are going to most likely see lots of consolidation happening. Hyperscale, so we're going to see a similar type of hyperscalers as we saw in the cloud infrastructure emerging in there. So handful of very large scale organizations that don't have that much of a margin in their business, but they, in principle, they collect taxes from the AI infrastructure. And it was quite nice. Brett Taylor, the ex-CTO of Facebook and a founder of Sierra AI, had a quite nice keynote talk in Sequoia VC's AI Ascent. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I recommended everyone to have a look on it. You can see the links to that YouTube videos attached to the podcast. But it has a good discussion around this, what is happening in the foundational model. And many are questioning that how far does actually the foundational models go? How much can be sold on the foundational model layer versus then applied software, applied products on top of that? And that is an interesting question as per se. And you can see, as we discussed earlier today, that on the tool level, like horizontal tool level, it's already everyone is offering the same framework, the MCPs, the agent-to-agent frameworks. No matter if you look into Anthropic or looking into Microsoft or OpenAI, AWS, you start to see the same tools appearing. Everyone that you see has an equivalent of each tool that exists there. So it's also high scale, the tool market, the horizontal tool market, but at the same moment, it's very hard to differentiate in there and win over the hyperscalers in that domain. But then the third level around the applied level, where you actually move and tap into not selling, when you sell a productivity tool, as we discussed earlier, the SaaS type of a subscription model, you're selling a per seat commercial model, which means that there's an employee who costs the employer, let's say it's a legal advisor in the legal team, costs you like $5,000 a month or something like that. Now you can sell them a SaaS software to do their work and have 100 euros a month cost for that seat. So the cost for the enterprise is 5K plus the 100. 5,000 and 100 is the monthly cost for doing that legal advisory. Now, if you think about using agent to perform the work of the legal advisor, so you have an applied AI type of business model, you go to the market with the vertical agent that is specialized in tax advisory, for example, tax advisory questions in the context of let's say trade finance or something like that, and specific line of business, international trade, finance, tax advisory there. So now you can say that, hey, our agent actually you pay per tax advice. And if you pay per tax advice, it's not anymore like I can have 100 euros per seat for a month, but I can ask a question, can I price it in a way that it taps into the salary cost of that legal advisor in the organization? So suddenly I'm tapping into a market that is at least one order of magnitude larger from business opportunity point of view than is selling the seat as a productivity tool. So I can claim that now I can do the tax advisory for you as a service, and it's a good price point for that. For example, 800 quid or 1,000 quid or euros for doing that same service that you previously paid the 5,000 plus the 100. It's a very good lucrative business case for the customer. They save a lot, but it's also opening yourself to have 10 times more revenues or 10 times more business turnover on the same kind business model in the same sale that you did previously under subscription model. And this is the big opportunity for anyone applying in this space. And the big hyperscalers, foundational models are not able to go into this domain because you need to have a very good specific understanding of that tax advisory and the context of the business. You need to have a novel idea how to actually solve that tax advisory question rather than building a foundational model. So you use the foundational model to solve a problem, productize that into an application, and then sell the work output rather than the underlying software there. And on these lines, what we have been building inside Digital Workforce, we launched last week. We're going to show a short demo soon. It's an agent workforce offering. Agent workforce, it's the name of the podcast as well, obviously. But agent workforce, the first initiated launch is around insurance, processing claims, insurance claims. The first agents that we have built, there's 7 agents in our family, from data capture to triage to doing fraud detection to do education processes and settlement. You can see that in the demo. But the idea is that these vertical agents, when they act as a team, they can process a full end-to-end claim from the first notification of loss all the way down to the settlement decision, and work as a team to execute the activities that previously was done by the claims team itself. So we're still working on top of the claims management systems that our customers have. We integrate still to the same underlying systems of records. It's not replacing the application layer that they have or the enterprise application layer. It's actually coming and offering a synthetic workforce, an agentic workforce to do the activities and the tasks that create that claim processing life cycle. And we think insurance being a very interesting industry to go for. We have a big background, a long background there, more than 10 years or around 10 years as a company working with insurance companies, especially general insurance, P&C insurers around their claim processing. And that is also an industry that has not been disrupted yet with the previous technologies that much because of the complexity of the data, the semantic understanding of the claims data that comes in, free-form text and all of that, that it's very difficult for the previous wave of AI, which is powered by machine learning, deep learning, powered by kind of regression analysis, time series analysis, all of this. They are not very good on these loose or like open-ended questions and semantic understanding of what is actually in this claim, what is the content, how can I refer it to my policy, make a decision, is this covered by the policy or not, and then based on those reasons or reasonings, then actually making the settlement decisions or the education and settlement decisions around the change. So it's very interesting line of business to focus on. There's lots of market, lots of opportunity for disruption, and at the same time, we have a good background and good position to build something there. So, any comments you think, Niko? At this stage, I will set up ourselves for playing the short demo on the background, so you can see it there, and then we can continue discussing on the topic here.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously I've known that this is happening and we're progressing with this, but I just think it's great to see that we are now being able to show the demo, we're able to talk about this. I'm really excited into seeing what this does. If you're listening to this on Spotify or through YouTube, you can see the video as well. If you're using another streaming service, then I suggest you go on YouTube later on to check out this video because it's gonna be a big part of today's episode just to show what's gonna happen here. Um, but yeah, what I wanted to say was on these large language models, foundation models, and so on. So I think Rami said it in our previous episode that it all started from having these having these small models that can do certain types of things. And then it moved to foundational models. And now we're sort of zooming in again with the help of context windows and so on to get to more specific and specialized capabilities through large language models. And these agents are just an example of that. And on that note, I also checked how the custom model world is doing right now. So on Hugging Face, you can see how many pre-trained smaller models are available that you can run on your own, environments and so on. Last time I checked, it was 1,100,000 models. I think that was about 4 months ago. Now it's 1,700,000 models. It's 500,000 more models in about 5 months. But those are of course very specific and often not the kinds that you are going to be using. And there's a reason why we're using foundational models here because they enable us to do this whole spectrum of things that we need the agents to do. And we simply uh, hone in on where to specialize with the context we give them and the instructions and parameters and so on.
Yeah. Very good, and that's something around the kind of design principles. And one reason also leaning towards the foundational models is the fact that this market or this technology is moving so quickly in an exponential growth mode at the moment, which means that building anything today, you want to build it architecture in a way that you can leverage and ride the wave of the foundational model development by the hyperscale. So you want to be popping up a champagne bottle every time a new foundational model, new reasoning model that is better than the previous one comes out, because actually your vertical agents, your solution becomes immediately better than if you rely on building your own models, building your own kind of adaptation or fine tuning. Then you have much longer cycles to update the models with the latest foundational capabilities and all of that. So that's one of the design principles behind this approach. Just two words. We will leave the demo to run on the background, but just a couple of words around the context. So this is an obviously general insurance claims processing. The specific first iteration of our vertical agents is specialized into medical claims processing, where the complexity of the doctor's notes and all the context is quite high. So it's a good place to start and show the capability. There's different agents, as mentioned, 7 of them having different, very distinctive roles. from policy matching to unstructured data capture to triaging if the claim is a straight-through processing candidate or not, to the education rules, settlement, data capture, all those key steps in a claim process. Not going to open all the details here. I think it's quite self-evident when it walks through. But what you're going to see is this family of agents processing an torn ACL claim. So there is a claim coming in. The claim is attached with doctor's diagnosis. It has an MRI to kind of cover the diagnosis. And then there's a policy in the background, and these agents are capturing the details from the doctor's notes, from the MRI, from the unstructured data, referring to the policy in the background, and making decisions on the education. So the coverage, what will be covered, what not, and in the end, then making a summary of the reasons and the decisions that can be then communicated to the customer as part of the settlement decision. So I will leave this in the background running while we can continue the discussion around the verticalized agents and vertical concept. Is there any other domains where you have seen or get familiar with vertical first approach of bringing agents to the use, Niko, when you're working in this space for half a year now, or more than, even more than that, 9 months soon?
Yeah, it's soon coming to a year. Well, I mean, something we've discussed in the podcast as well is the one for legal. The name escapes me, unfortunately, but that's a definite one. And then, of course, for programming, we have Lovable, we have Cursor. Do they count as vertical agents? I would say yes, because they are for a specific purpose. You can just do a lot with them, and they are more collaborative, of course, whereas this is aiming more towards autonomy, and then collaboration is more of a exception rather than, depending on the case, I suppose, or the scenario. But yeah, right now there's agents talking to one another.
Yeah. There now Dahlia, our data capture agent, has confirmed that we have all the details in the claim that is necessary. So we don't have to go back to the customer asking for more details, but we can move forward in the process towards the triaging and capturing actually the details from the claims documents and all of that. So Clara, that appears here throughout the process, is our master agent. It's the kind of orchestrator that takes care and shares the work to the other agents that are specialized in certain tasks. So Clara pops up every now and then, gives an overall status of the claim, what is going on, and then invites her team of specialist agents to conduct more specialist work around it. Here now you can see Nora is picking up the details from the doctor's diagnosis. It's referring to the clinical codes, to the content of what actually has been diagnosed here, and then based on these structured data points that Nora is taking, then the next agent, which is Petra, the policy matching agent, can then use this data to match to the policy and make a decision on the coverage in the background. Around this vertical agent in general, and obviously Cursor, we use it quite much internally as well. It's I think the industry that has gone through the tipping point. The first is software development. It's very hard to see in the future that in a big scale, junior software developer positions would emerge anymore. So you have a senior developer working with an development agent, AI agent like Cursor or Lovable, can actually produce code in the similar fashion as that he would be having a group of junior developers underneath him writing the syntaxes and building different modules. That will have a significant effects on that industry at the moment, obviously creating also challenges for talent management in the future, because at some point those senior developers that we have today will be retiring and not working anymore. And how do you build new senior level developers if the junior positions are getting less and less because of this type of technology change? in underlying processing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would presume that whereas I would say that the job description for what a junior developer does is changing a lot, because the first day at work, they're going to probably shove cursor on their face and say, this is your new best friend, and we expect you to do everything through this. And it's going to be a very different type of way getting into the industry, so on. I want to comment on the video. We can see that data is being updated on the dashboard here on the right-hand side, as these tasks are being performed. And well, I guess it's obvious, but since this is a demo, it's doing one thing at a time. In reality, if we had six things on the dashboard, they would all be scalably being processed simultaneously.
Yeah, and this is, in my opinion, probably the biggest advantage or change in how we think about agents coming as part of our workforce, is that you have this scalability to basically anything that you're doing that you haven't had before. So the models themselves, they're very good. In some benchmark, they are better than PhD level experts in their own field having access to Google. So you can have at least a claim, or you can play around with the claim that this is PhD level intelligence that the foundational models offer at the moment, especially the reasoning models. But the real thing is that it's now infinitely scalable for your business needs from a server rack, which means that you can scrutinize or analyze every single transaction in a bank, or a claim in an insurance company, or a risk on the other side of the insurance company, like it would be the only risk that your company or claim that your company has that week. So that is really a very powerful message if you think about what that actually allows. It allows you to scrutinize work on live claims, live processes on a level that you haven't been able to do before. But at the same time, you can do, as you mentioned, parallel processing. It's not anymore that you need to design your processes in sequential order. First, this team does something, and when they have completed their to-do list, then we move it to the other team, who then has their to-do list. And we create a hard gate between the two teams, because you don't want the downstream team start doing work before they have all the data points in place that they can complete the work. Otherwise, they need to stop and go back, and that's not efficient. But now the agents can work all the time and analyze the case every time new data come in, and effectively without an increase into the cost of them. So you can actually have much more parallel processing designs in your operations, which will push down the turnaround times of core operational processes in a way that we haven't seen before. So the end customers will experience a significant increase in how they are served by their customer, by their vendors, their providers, and that expectation about how quickly and what level of service you will get will go through the roof quite quickly when people start to adapt and learn how this actually can be done, and how the kind of front runners in the industries can offer this exceptional customer experience for their customers. And I think that is a place where, quickly mentioned earlier, Brett from Sierra AI. Sierra AI is one vertical agent business that has took off quite nicely, founded and funded in Silicon Valley, VC-backed organization. But their concept is to build this customer service agent that can handle all incoming queries, customer service queries, and has all of your brand reputation, your brand context, your product knowledge baked into them, so that they can serve each and every customer like they would know the whole customer's history, the relationship, as well as all the products that the organization and services the organization is delivering. So they have this superior knowledge bank that they can leverage in a live customer service instance. But at the same time, they can scale to as many customer service calls or kind of inbound requests as there's a need. So there's no resource capacity, there's no waiting time, there's no latency on the phone line. When you call in and you start to wait in the queue, you get answered immediately. These guys can spend as long or as much time as you want to solve your problems on the spot, and they have also this superior knowledge advantage. So I think that is a very interesting place to see where Sierra can push the limits of customer service and customer expectations and experiences for us in the consumer lines. And then I think it was with all the other technologies as well, that mobile and the access to web.com boom and all of that, when customers started learning the B2C business, what is the experience that they should assume from their vendors, quite quickly that translated into a need in the B2B business as well, that okay, how actually, what is the expected level of service that I should get from my providers, because I have this reference point that my bank and my insurance company and my telephone operator actually can offer me instant customer service, solving my problems on the spot with an experience that is way better than ever before they have been able to offer.
Yeah, yeah. I just to go once more back to the demo and so on. So, how adaptable is this? Going from, let's say, country to country where we have different regulations and so on, or going from one organization to another.
So the idea of this pre-built or pre-conceptualized agents that have a specific task is obviously that we as an organization, we can accumulate something we call agent evaluations, agent evals, around certain tasks. So as long as we work in the same line of insurance business, in medical claims, for example, we can leverage much of the data sets across different countries, different organizations, not the customer's data itself, obviously, but how this agent should behave in certain type of scenarios. So the scalability definitely comes from focusing on predefined use cases, predefined context, and being able to leverage the trained agents in the next engagement that we will have. So that is definitely built into the business logic as key scalability lever. How easy it is to move from a medical insurance line towards, for example, motor insurance lines. I think that leap is already a bit larger. A claim is a claim everywhere. It's in the specialty lines, motor lines, and medical lines. It's always the same phases, at the same like initial triage, data capture, making decisions on the policy coverage, education rules, deductibles, settlements. The same roles appear, the same steps appear, no matter what is the complexity or domain of the claim. But the underlying training models and how they are working with the underlying data will change, and that will have effects on how quickly this can be rolled out to different lines of business. Our aim is obviously roll this across the general insurance lines, covering from travel to home, to medical, to motor. But in the beginning, we are very sharply focused on the medical lines to build that critical mass and scale into the agent, so that we can prove the scalability hypothesis as well that I mentioned.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. I thought that's going to be one question we're going to get, so I cleared that out of the way. I think we're coming into time with our recording this time. I think it's been a great discussion. Fantastic to see the demo as well. Any questions people have around this, they can contact you, I suppose. They can find you on LinkedIn, and your email address is all over the place anyway.
Yeah. Feel free to be in touch, and I have to say that the initial feedback of our go-to-market launch a week ago has been very, very positive. There has been lots of inbound requests and questions around how does this actually operate in my environment. I'm using Guidewire or whatnot as my claims management system and so forth. So the interest is definitely there, and the idea of productizing this into a state where you are basically recruiting a new type of worker or workforce into your operations rather than building an extensive IT project is actually working very well in the market. So it's exciting to see what we can do with the offering and this direction of travel as an organization.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes I like to end this on some quotes, and I've got two this time. One is very much on point here as well. This is from Microsoft's press release regarding the agent-to-agent protocol bandwagon jump, where they state that the best agents won't live in one app or cloud. They operate in the flow of work, spanning models, domains, and ecosystems. And the second one is from Sharon Napier from GitHub, who said that what were considered impossible tasks just a year ago are now being completed with ease. One of our engineers said something they thought couldn't be done last week is now happening this week. And I think that says a lot about where we are in the world right now, just how much has changed in the past year, for instance. And yeah,
there's opportunities everywhere. So it's never been a better time to build your own business than it's actually today. It's or maybe during the dot-com boom it was the same, but there's opportunity basically anywhere that you look, any direction where you look.
just stay away from medical claims processing. We got that. Now, but hey, Karli, thank you very much for joining on this episode, and I'm sure we're gonna have you as a guest another time as well. This has been the Agent Workforce Podcast. I'm Niko Lehtonen, and thanks everyone for listening. See you
Thank
soon.
you.